The record, for the first time in 3 years, there was a bump on bump day in Indianapolis. Former winner Ari Lyondike's kid went out at mid-afternoon, filled the field of 33. That's Ari Jr. About the same time, A.J. Foyt called Felipe Giafoni, who was shopping with his wife in an Indianapolis mall, and said, "Come on out to the Speedway." After a couple of quick shakedowns, Felipe handily knocked young Lyondike out of the show. And with that, let's bring in Robin Miller live from Indianapolis. Robin, say hello to an old friend. Tony Stewart is with me tonight.
Smoke, Stewart, before he was really good on TV, and he's pretty good anymore, he was on a Channel 13 television show on Sunday nights with me, and he was the nicest, most polite kid. I don't know.
See what you did to me?
And then when he started, I remember telling John Menard when Tony first got in his champ car, or his Indy car, I said, you know what? I said, this is going to be the best thing that ever happened to you. I said, because this kid's the next Parnelli Jones. And John Menard goes, well, I don't really like rookies, but they talked me into it. Larry Curry and the boys talked me into it, blah, blah, blah. And the rest is history. But what I want Tony to answer first is, seriously, if somebody would have stepped up, and you weren't in it for money, you were in it to be a race driver, but if somebody in the IRL would have offered you a decent salary, be it Tony George or Menard or Foyt or anybody, would you have stayed in the IRL, or did you have to, you really didn't have an option?
Well, the way it was for me, I mean, I came in the IRL in its infant stages, and none of us really knew exactly what was going to happen with the Indy Racing League. So it was hard. I mean, it was a hard time for me. It was probably the most difficult decision I ever made. But on paper, it was as easy as looking down and saying there's 11 races in the IRL, and we don't know exactly what the future is going to be. And then on the other side, it's 33 Busch Grand National races, and you know, it's a stable series that the popularity of it kept growing. So it wasn't about dollars and cents. It was just about what was going to be the right career move for me. And you know, for me, as much as I like to race, it was 33 races versus 11 races. It was a pretty easy decision.
We'll come back to that, Robin. Let's talk about, what'd you call it, the grudge bump today at Indianapolis?
I got AJ mad at me. Yeah, I know.
And I hear he's mad at me. Oh, you tell me he won't come on our show. He's got some bone to pick with Despain. Is that right?
Yeah. He doesn't like you, period, and he's not real fond of me. He does like Stewart, so 1 out of 3.
Maybe Smoke can get him on. Go ahead.
No, probably not. So here's what happened. When the great American hero, the man that's as close to apple pie and biscuits and gravy as our boy Foyt, hires a Brazilian to bump an American who's from the IPS series, I go, what the hell's going on here, boys and girls? Because I don't understand this. So I think 2 or 3 things happened. One, I think Tony George said, hey, we need some action the last 2 hours for TV. AJ likes, you know, him and Tony had some fun last year. He put Giafoni in the car. And I asked him, I said, was this a grudge bump because of you and Lyondike? And he said, no, that's a stupid thing to say. You're an idiot. Leave me alone, you know, something like that. And then
the point being that he and Ari had a shoving match in Texas, what, 10 years ago or something, yeah.
But I really think this worked out to be kind of a blessing because Ari Lyondike Jr. is not ready for the Indy 500. He doesn't have any experience. He missed all the rookie orientation. He didn't look very comfortable out there. And then we heard later on that they were, I think, maybe Greg Beck, his car owner, they're going to get paid for last place anyway, so everybody will make some money and everybody will be happy, and there was a bump. And, you know, I mean, it was manufactured drama, but the first time they had somebody bumped in 3 years.
Here's my take on this. They want to read the revisionists in the press department up there want to redefine the term bump. Bump is what we saw today. You go faster than the slowest guy, you knock him out of the race. It is not when a guy who's going to be in the race anyway is inconvenienced by being moved to the next qualifying day. That's not a bump. That's a nudge. Nudge day is not the same as bump day. They don't need 4 days of qualifying. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. They need 4 hours of qualifying, 33 cars. And I tell you what, it's sad. I mean, Tony, Stewart's he's as loyal to open wheel racing as anybody that's ever come down the pike. But he grew up, he saw what this place was and how much drama. And even in '95 when Penske missed the show, you could really do this, and you could practice on Friday, qualify on Saturday, and race on Sunday. It's not going to happen, but you don't need 4 days. It's just a waste of everybody's time. The Speedway loses money when the track's open. But here's how you can maybe get some people back to this joint. Pay $5 or $10 million to win, and I bet you some people in NASCAR might enter a car. Maybe somebody in Formula One would think about it. The purse needs to go up big time because it's been stagnant for a long time. Make it so appealing that people want to get back involved in the Indy 500, and then maybe you'd have 50 cars going for 33 spots instead of this dog and pony show where you get 12 attempts with 1 car. Sorry, Marty Roth qualifying 12 times. Don't do it for me.
As much as I respect A.J. Foyt, it troubles me to think that he's become the bump day PR stunt for the racetrack. I hate that. I hope he makes enough money with that last place car to actually hire a crew for all three and go out and have a respectable day. I need you to think about what happens if Breck wins the race next Sunday, Robin. I have an email about that. I'm going to expect a good answer from you when we come back on the other side and continue our conversation with Robin Miller and Tony Stewart about what's happened up in Indianapolis this month and whether Tony might ever go back.
Hemis, honeys, and
welcome back. We're talking about the Indy 500. The subject, a Texas tunnelhead by the name of Richard, wants to know. Robin Miller, Bobby Rahal says Kenny Brack is just a fill-in for Buddy Rice until the Texas race. What if Kenny wins the 500? It could happen. Does Bobby A, run 4 cars for the rest of the season? B, tell Buddy thanks for keeping Kenny's seat warm? C, give Vitor the heave-ho because, unfortunately, he's not Danica. Richard lives in Plano, Texas. What happens if Breck wins?
A, they run 4 cars, and the Speedway probably helps them pay for it because you got to have the Indy 500 winner. The IRL needs to draw as many people as they can. Kenny's a big draw anyway, and you can't just have the Indy 500 winner drop off after the month of May. But here's what I want to talk about as far as Kenny Brack's story is. A lot of people said, why did he get back in the car? Because it's one of the 7 or 8 that can win, of course. And the other thing is, I saw this guy a lot in the hospital because I live downtown, and I went and took him some books and some racing tapes and some food every day. And so, I mean, I saw this guy. This guy went through a lot. He had blood clots, and they forgot to give him his blood. They didn't replenish his blood once, and he really suffered in the hospital. And just watching his spirit, it's, you know, the guy's a hell of a story, and he's a good race driver. But I think the interesting thing is, I think what he did, everybody said, well, why did he go so fast when he didn't have to go that fast and set the quick time? I think he wanted to reestablish who the A driver was on that team.
And I think he did it very handily. And it's 23rd. I mean, that's no problem from winning from 23rd spot, right?
No.
But he's not your pick.
No, I think my pick's got to be Kanaan just because he's been so consistent and he's so good. I mean, they've got their pit stops are great. He's got a handle on this car and this track, and I think it's going to be tough to beat him.
I wasn't going to ask this, but I just can't resist being a jerk. If one of the Vision Racing, if Jeff Ward had been 33rd, would AJ have bumped him?
No. I don't think so, because then AJ would have been thrown out of the Speedway Motel forever. And I'm wearing my Vision Racing hat, which cost $22 to support Tony George. He says I bash him all the time. I went out and spent my money on this.
You bought that? Good for you.
I did.
Tony,
I want to ask Stewart something.
Okay.
We talked about the IRL and how they struggle with TV numbers and attendance. If Tony George came to you with a blank check and said, what's it going to take to get you back in the Indy Racing League? A, would you do it? And B, it'd be the best thing that ever happened because you're a big enough name now that you would really influence the crowd. So what's your number, $20 million a year?
I would have to think about that, but to be honest, I probably wouldn't even accept an offer. I mean, I'm really happy with Joe Gibbs Racing, and more so, the guys that go on the road with me every week. I mean, these guys have become my family. We've been through, everything together. I mean, we've been through the highest of highs, the lowest of lows, and I just don't see myself leaving that team right now. These guys have been behind me through thick and thin, and it'd be like you just up and leaving your family. So I'm not sure that I don't think it would ever happen in the first place, but second of all, we'd have to cross that bridge when we got to it, but I really don't believe I'd be interested in it.
Oh, but
I want 15%.
Wait a minute, Miller. Phone caller brought it up a little bit ago. I think the widely reported date is 09 when Tony's contract is up. So then that's all done. Would you go back?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not in the Cup Series, I would go back in a heartbeat. But I don't know what's going to happen.
Where's your heart? The contract says 09. Is there still a part of you aching to win that race, or is that behind you now?
No, it's not. I mean, obviously every year that goes by that I don't run at the Speedway, I get further away from the technology. But at the same time, if you get with the right team, to do the Speedway right, I mean, if I'm going to go do the 500 again, I need to start the season with that team, and I need to run the season opener. I need to run all the way through Indy to be accustomed to what's going on, not sitting there on the first 3 days trying to get the seat fitting exactly right and trying to get accustomed to what's going on. So, I never say never, and you know, there's always going to be a space in Columbus, Indiana, on a sign that's there for the Indianapolis 500 win. I don't want them to take that away unless they fill it up the right way. So, you know, I've learned to never say never.
Tony Stewart on the Indy 500, Robin Miller. We look forward to your post-race report next week. Thanks very much for being with us this evening.
Boys, if Tony Stewart knows about motherhood, I retire.
Enjoy your next career, Miller.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Who knows?
But we need to move on, and we will do that. We will be right back after the commercial break. Now would be the time to call if you're a dirt track fan and you want to talk to Paul Kruger. His organization, formerly Boundless Motorsports, now Dirt Motorsports, changing the landscape of American dirt track racing. We'll ask him what lies ahead. Seen around the world, or at least around the IndyCar world. Danica Patrick, quick in practice. Bit of a bobble last week, cost her the pole for the Indy 500. Yes, it was a big disappointment, but she will nonetheless start solidly in row 2, with much of the promotion of the race revolving around her first appearance in it. And with that, we are pleased to welcome Danica to the wind tunnel. She's up in New York City. Danica, hi, welcome to the show. Thanks for saving time for us tonight.
Hi, how are you?
How many, I'm doing well, thank you. How many interviews have you done in the last hour and a half? Did you keep track?
1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's a lot.
A lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. They don't fit on my 2 hands.
I'm gonna make you a deal. You ran out of fingers. If I ask you any questions that you're just really sick of hearing, all you have to do is say, Dave, I'm just really sick of that question, and then we'll move on to something else. Okay.
You asked for it.
All right. That seems fair enough. When are you going to be on Letterman? Question number 1.
Tomorrow night, Monday night.
If you win the 500, do you get to go back?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't he want me back, right?
All right. It seems logical to me, but
I'll have a new story.
Yeah, exactly. That's something to talk about. You have something to talk about now, of course. Let's go back to qualifying. We all saw the slip on your first lap last Sunday. I know it's not your favorite subject. I'm sure you're sick of talking about that. But
Dave, I'm sick of talking about that.
But I need you to help me settle a disagreement, okay? I think you steered just the right amount at just the right moment and saved the car. One of the guys on the staff thinks at 225 plus, the driver just holds on and the car either saves itself or it doesn't. Who's right?
The car does not save itself. I promise you that. I looked at the speed traces and the throttle and everything to see what happened, and they said I got full lock opposite direction twice. And, you know, the rear end started to slip, and you could see that in the traces, and then all of a sudden I lifted off the throttle. So you can't tell me that if I didn't lift and steer, that counter steer, that I would be going straight and I wouldn't hit the wall. No way.
Thanks, Danica. You just won me a beer.
Sweet.
I don't know how many cars were in line at that point, but with 20/20 hindsight, would there have been any advantage to bailing out at that point, abort the attempt, get back in line, wait a minute, calm down, and then try it again without the mistake? Is there anything you could have done to go back and get the pole?
Well, with the new way of qualifying now, we get 3 attempts, but we have to withdraw each attempt. So I would have had to withdraw the 27.0 or 227.0 and tried for a new time. So, you know, I'm just glad that Bobby Rahal and Scott Remke talked me into staying calm, and our car had to stay in the intact for about an hour and a half, so we had time, and we'd have had to go to the end of the line anyway. So, you know, we just played it cool, and we went out, we practiced, and went, hey, let's just stay right where we're at and be happy with it, be proud, be pleased that, you know, I'm a rookie and I've come here and things have gone pretty well.
Would you agree that the promotion of this race seems to revolve primarily around you, and are you okay with that?
I'd like to think that everybody else is doing their part and doing as much as they can, but yes, I do know that many of the things are me. I believe I might be the only ABC commercial that they're airing for the race, maybe, and you know, I'm in part of the opening. It's myself and Sam Schmidt that they're doing a story on for the opening of the show, and you know, there's been a lot of attention, no doubt, but I'm okay with that. I think that it's a great story, and if it brings fans to the track and to their televisions on Sunday, May 29th, then let's keep going.
Mission accomplished. We have enough emails similar to this one that I want to give you a chance to respond to the argument. This email says, Why is the media hyping this young lady up so much? She says she wants to be treated like one of the guys, but if she was a male driver, she sure wouldn't be called a rookie sensation. She never won an Atlantics. Her best finish in an Indy car is 4th. I do wish her the best at Indy, but I believe she needs to win now just to justify all the hype that's going on. Old-timer in Monterey, California. So what do you say to old-timer and other people who think that same thing?
Oh my gosh. I did almost have pole, which hasn't happened for a rookie since 1983. Teo Fabi, I think it was, and every year there's rookies, so it's been a long time. And 4th, only 4th. Well, there's only been 4 races. I almost had a pole. I was 300ths off of a pole at Motegi, so. You know, I think he needs to retrace some history before he can make that kind of comment.
All right, good for you. Let's go to the phones. Dennis in Tampa, Florida. You're on with Danica. Quickly, if you could. She's got to run.
Hey, Danica. I saw you at the St. Pete Grand Prix. Thought you did an amazing job. Have some great photos of you. But do you think you can do better than Lynn St. James, who tried so many times, and win the Indy 500 on your first try?
That would be a huge accomplishment for anyone to win it on their first try. One of the guys that I definitely looked up to when I was growing up was Jacques Villeneuve, and he finished 2nd his first year as a rookie and won it the next year, and I thought that was amazing. So I'd love to be a rookie and win it my first year. I think it's possible, no doubt. I'd be silly if I was going into the race thinking I didn't have a chance. I drive for such a great team and have such strong teammates that I know it's possible. So keep your fingers crossed for me.
Knowing that, final question, knowing that there's the possibility that you can win it, does anything short of victory satisfy you?
That's going to depend on the day very much. Did I make any mistakes? Did I waste time in traffic? Did I lose the car at some point and get frustrated? I don't know. It's gonna really depend on the day. If I go out there and I feel like I did a great job and I made my way through traffic, I kept up with the car, I kept the car handling well the whole time, gave good feedback to the team and didn't make any silly mistakes, then I think I can come away from the day feeling good that I did everything I could and that I'm only going to learn every day and every race and every year for the rest of my career.
Danica, I don't know what you thought of the questions, but I thought the answers were terrific. Have fun on Letterman tomorrow night and maybe a week from tomorrow night. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Danica Patrick. We're going to continue our conversation with Tony Stewart right after this. A jam-packed edition of the old Wind Tunnel.